Hey everyone, and this is Kimberly Shipley, so I want to say hi. This is a little couch talk today of a video, so I wanted to give you all a little update about me. It's about I went to the doctor yesterday. Last week, well, first I was having symptoms of my lung infection, which I've got a lung infection. If you don't know, if you're new to my video, it won't go away. It was I don't know, due to mold, soil of the ground, something. Black mold would be. Which, as far as I know, I've got all of it out of my house. So, anyway, that problem was took care of. But I'm still facing the repercussions of it. But, so I'm starting to feel better over my lung infection. So I was behind on getting some things done around the house. And so, anyway, on this video, I wanted to talk to y'all about, yesterday I had to go to the doctor for a refill on an antibiotic. I'm sorry, not an antibiotic, a refill on my blood pressure medicine. I don't know why I said antibiotic. When we reach this age, we start to forget. We forget what we're saying. So I gotta watch what I'm saying. Because sometimes things will come out that, like, that ain't right. Do you get like that? I mean, I don't know if you do, but anyway, that's me anymore. But second, when I went to the doctor to get my blood pressure medicine, just normal refills, I just was out of refills and had to go to the doctor and, get them to send the refills and all that in, get my blood pressure checked. I wanted to ask him about this spot on my nose, and I don't know if you can see it. I don't want to. I'm not trying to do a embarrassing nose close up, so I'm kind of, as you can see it. It's re-come on my face in several locations, and I thought it was to do with blowing my nose. And anyway, my doctor. Okay, I'll pull back down. My doctor got to looking at it, and she said it concerns her because it reoccurs. And she said, let's send you to a skin cancer doctor just in case. And she said they can work wonders now and stuff like that. So, I haven't got my appointment for my skin doctor yet. And so, anyway, once I do and get seen, I'll update everybody on that situation. But I do want to ask, if everyone don't mind, to say a prayer for me about it. I'm not worried about this, and I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to let God take control over it, and just to keep my worry off. 2 years ago, I had a heart attack, and it was a massive. It was, don't put your finger in front of, that was Caleb, I'm sorry. Don't put your finger in front of one video, baby, okay? But anyway, I had a heart attack, a massive heart attack 2 years ago. They said I was very lucky to make it. I had one stent put in. I had 99% blockage. So if you're new to my channel, I just wanted to update you a little bit about me, health. I was in great health. I could get out, walk 5 miles, everything, before the heart attack. Once the heart attack hit me, I did have probably a couple of symptoms before my actual heart attack, if I really knew what to watch for. So, at that time, I really didn't know. But going back and thinking about it now, wait a minute, this probably was a sign. So if you do have a sign that you think possibly could be a heart, go get checked out. Don't be like me and put it off and actually have the heart attack. It was not fun. It was very, very, very extremely painful. And for any women watching right now, I'll tell you right now, I have experienced natural childbirth. I've got 5 kids total. Caleb is 8 years old. He's my youngest. He was me and my husband, current husband that passed away. He was our only child we had together. The rest of my kids are grown. With my daughter Kate, I had natural childbirth with her, and I'll tell you, it's painful. And it's painful in your hip area and your lower area, thighs, things like that. If you're a woman, you know what I mean. If you've had a child and experienced childbirth, this right here was different. It was just as painful as childbirth or as contractions, hard contractions, but it was all up here, all in this area. And I mean, I was doubling over in pain to the point I didn't know if I could just stand it. I'll tell you, me and my husband, when it hit me, we was at just a convenience store. My husband went in to get a drink or something, a cold drink. And, of course, this was 2 years ago. And all of a sudden it hit me. That's when the pain hit. I was in such pain. I got out of my car. Of course, Caleb's sitting in the back seat in his car seat, or his booster seat. And I was in my Camaro. I get out, and it was kind of cool. It was November. I had my heart attack the day before Thanksgiving. And anyway, I laid over against my Camaro and just laid there trying to get relief. The pain was so intense. Maybe the coolness on the car's hood would just relieve me. And my husband said, he came to me and said what was wrong when he came out of the convenience store. And I told him, I said, my chest hurts severely. And I just come outside just to see if I could get some relief. And it's just so bad, I just can't stand it. So I tell you, a heart attack is painful. But a sign I had, I will tell you this. One sign I do remember, up my arm, at one point I had a vein to hurt from my shoulder, that straight vein right here, all the way to my hand, to my fingers. Excuse me. And so, anyway, that was a sign I know I had beforehand. Sorry about that. That's just part of my lung infection. It's doing better, but excuse me, sometimes it gets my throat dry. And this is going to be a raw, for real. Well, I mean, all my videos are for real. It's not that. I'm just not going to edit this one. I'm just going to upload it like it is. So I'm not going to cut out my coughing. Sometimes I do have to edit once in a while it out of the video. Because, I mean, I just can't help it. And I do know I've had a lot of people say, oh, you've got a smoker's, cough. No, it's a lung infection caused by, they think possibly black mold. They said it could have been the soil of the ground, or it could have been caught at the hospital when I had my heart attack. 4 months prior to my heart attack, my dad had a heart attack. He was in the hospital. Caleb, go give me a cold drink, a Coke, Pepsi to drink, so I can get my mouth where it's not so dry. And my dad had a heart attack. His was a lot different than mine. He ended up having to have a defibrillator put in. And my dad spent 5 weeks in the hospital. Not advertising Pepsi, but I gotta have something to drink. My throat's dry. Maybe it'll help with the cough too. Get the tinkling out of my throat. But anyway, my dad was my rock. My dad was everything to me. And I miss him so bad. I was up there every day, some nights. Spent the night with him. Of course, I've got Caleb at home too. And I remember my dad would say, hey, stay with me. And that nurse looked at me like, go home to be with the baby. It's okay. We got your daddy. You've been here most of the day, some of the day. Especially after my husband got off, I'd go straight to next town over. My dad was like 25 miles away from where I live at least 25, 30 miles away in the hospital. And as soon as Michael, my husband, got off from work, I'd go straight over there to see Daddy. And try to spend as long as I could up there. And of course, Daddy was in very bad shape, and he spent 5 weeks in the hospital. And that nurse told me every night, "No, go home be with your little boy, be with that baby." And I'm like, they called him baby, of course. And she's like, we've got your daddy, so we'll call you if anything. And I'm, okay, The nurses, they were so sweet, always reassuring me, but they're like, you need to go home, be with your child some too. But that last night, that nurse looked at me and she said, "Honey, tonight's night, you need to stay." And I did, and we lost my dad the next morning. My dad was everything to me. My dad raised me. I worked with my dad. We done moving jobs, I know, and after all this, I had done moving jobs. I was a very big, not heavy big, but muscle-built, stout woman. I worked with my dad when I was a kid. I worked in tobacco with him and things like that, so I was very stout. And my dad done moving jobs. I done that with Daddy on the side. I was a daddy's girl, and I miss him so bad. My house is next door to my dad's house, and of course nobody lives there. It's an old home, and it's really not probably even worth fixing, but that was my daddy's home. And it just, my dad let me put my new mobile home on his land years ago. And of course my dad left it to me when he passed away, the land my home sits on. And, Daddy was everything to me. I was a daddy's girl. And I know I'm repeating it, but anyway, about 5 months, I guess it was, after Daddy passed away with a heart attack, I had my heart attack. And would you believe it? I was in a room in intensive care right across from where Daddy died at. And that was hard. And then they told me it was a massive heart attack. They said, "Honey, you're really lucky to be alive after this." But they said, "We got you fixed. We got got you in time. We got you fixed." But they said you was close. And to hear that, you're like, wow, I was that close to death and I didn't realize it. And the way the doctor talked, he said, "You had a 99% blockage. That was a really good heart attack you had." And I tell you, you don't want to have one. You don't want to have one like I did. It was painful. But they got me fixed. When I got home, the strange thing, I was released, of course, it's Thanksgiving happens. It was on a Wednesday. I forgot the exact date, but it was on a Wednesday because Thanksgiving's on a Thursday, so it was the night before Thanksgiving. So I missed my Thanksgiving that year. And anyway, I remember I was released from the hospital, I believe, on the following Sunday. So I was in there Wednesday night, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They put my stent in on Friday. I guess everybody wanted to have their Thanksgiving, but I was on medication IVs. So I was okay from having another heart attack. Except for, they was able to keep everything good until they could get in there. And like I said, I guess they had their Thanksgiving they had going on, so they didn't do it till Friday. And then they ran the dye and immediately seen I had a blockage, and anyway, put a stent in my blockage. So as soon as I got home, and I didn't realize, and if you're watching this right now, and if you've ever experienced or you had a family member experience a heart attack, I remember as soon as I got home, I felt fair in the hospital. Not okay, but fair. I was tired. But I got home, and I remember as soon as I laid down in bed, I collapsed. And my husband just kind of left me, alone. And I'm sure I got food. I don't even remember. Of course, my husband was taking care of our son, Caleb. And only thing I remember, my little dog, Teddy, which Teddy is really close to me. He sleeps with me. He stays by my side all the time. He's a Yorkie. And Teddy, you want to come here and say hi? Come on. And he's coming. And this is my one of my little buddies here. This is my Teddy. And he's got to get his hair cut again soon. He's due for a grooming. But that's my right-hand little buddy right there. This fur baby. I love this buddy to pieces right here. Yeah, bud. And so anyway, yeah, Teddy. But yeah, if you or your family has ever experienced this, let me know. That's, went through an actual heart attack. I heard it wasn't stent, it was an actual heart attack that caused me to do this. That as soon as I lay down in bed, though, the only thing I remember, of course, the light was out in my bedroom. And I don't even remember getting up and going to the bathroom, which, I had to. I don't even remember eating. All I remember is a few days had passed. And I could remember little clips coming to my mind. And I remember thinking I was in the hospital when I woke up. I could see a light in the distance, which that would be towards my living room, my mobile home. And I remember reaching over my hand next to me in the bed, and Teddy was laying next to me. And I said, Teddy. Or I was thinking in my head, I don't know if I even said it out loud. I'm like, Teddy, I'm home. I'm home, ain't I? I'm okay. And I just laid back down and fell back asleep. And my husband said I was in bed either 5 to 7 days. And just, I guess, getting up long enough to eat and long enough to probably go to the bathroom. Things like that. But I don't even remember it. So, look, my ear was itching. But anybody ever remember Carol Burnett doing that on TV? It was a sign of saying hi to somebody, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, yeah, so my body collapsed. And I was beyond exhausted to the point I don't even have memory of most of it. Like I said, I just remember that one incident. I remember reaching over there and feeling Teddy next to me and knew I was home and knew I was safe. I wasn't hurt no more. I just couldn't get up. I just was exhausted. And so anyway, I just let my body heal. It took a while to get over it. The doctors, I didn't drive for about 2 weeks. Of course, my husband was driving anyway, for me. And so it was hard getting over a heart attack. And then, of course, I lost my dad prior to that. And from heart issues. I was right there when my dad died, too, and I was holding his hand when he took his last breath. And I was glad I done that. I'm glad I was there. But anyway, what my point is, 2 years ago I experienced that traumatic event. Plus, what happened with my dad, I don't know where I got the lung infection at. I did find mold in my home, black mold, and I took care of. It was fixed. I had somebody come in here and, tear flooring out, wood out, lumber, and replace it. So anyway, that I know of, I've got that fixed as of right now. When I'm viewing mobile homes and I do tours, if you noticed on here, I wish I could buy me a new one. That way for my lungs benefit, I just wish I had something fresh and new sometimes, just because of that. That I know it would be fresh, breathing would be easier, and I don't know, sometimes I get ahead of myself, but I'm gonna, as I said in another video, I'm leaving everything in God's hands. If He wants me to have a brand new home, the way I see it, God can make it rain money if I needed it bad enough. What He wants, He will arrange. He would give somebody just to give me a home and just say, here's the keys, if I meant to have it. So I know God will provide if it's meant. And I have faith. And I'm going to stick with that faith. I'm not going to worry. So anyway, talking about my health, then about 8 months, I guess it was, after I had my heart attack, I couldn't breathe. And I probably had a little bit of symptoms before that, but I just couldn't breathe, this and that. And of course, first thing they were going to do is think of lung cancer. They said my symptoms is like that. I even started coughing up blood. And I'm like, my goodness, what is wrong with me? Finally, my local doctor, my regular doctor, physician, was able to get me to a lung doctor finally. Took a while, too. And I had been to the hospital several times to get breathing treatments. But the doctor said, we need to clean your lungs out. And he said, we're going to do a biopsy because they did find a nodule on my lung. And I'm like, and he said, of course, that can be signs of lung cancer. And he said, you got symptoms of it too. But he said, your lungs are full. So when they cleaned my lungs out and I had the surgery, first of all, the doctor told my husband, while I was in recovery, he said, she was so blocked up in her lungs. And this is coming from a regular lung doctor. My lung doctor seems to be very good. I'm highly happy with him. As far as my doctor, I'm very happy with everything he's done. So I have nothing at all to be, to say anything negative about him at all. He has been nothing but, he's kept me alive. And he's been concerned about my family life, concerned I'm now a single mom and such as. So anyway, he had told my husband, he said, she is lucky to be alive. She said, I don't even know how she was breathing. He said, every tube inside of her lungs was completely closed. He said, but I've got her cleaned out. But the only thing is, when they went in there and went through my throat and got the biopsy off my lung, well, apparently, and checked for lung cancer, which I will tell you right now, the lung cancer came back negative. So they ended up doing some tests in there where they did get other stuff out and found out about the lung infection. And they tested it and all that and said that it looks like this could be caused by either black mold, sole. It tested, some of that stuff tested positive for that. And there was 2 or 3 things that my lungs tested positive for as far as infection. And my lung doctor said, yes, black mold, it could be an issue. Because I did show him the pictures I found in the house and told him I got it fixed immediately. But because of this infection, I wanted to be concerned and ask him. And he said, yes, this can cause it to what you would have. But he said the only thing is it's done the damage. We can't undo a damage that's already been done. So I've got to live with the damage and just try to keep up with medicines. And I take a 3-day-a-week antibiotic. I'm on the antibiotics for the rest of my life because of this. And Caleb, turn that down. It's got music. I don't want to affect my YouTube. Sorry. Turn it off for a minute while I do my video. Thank you. And, okay, thank you, baby. And I don't want to get no, strikes on my video. You can play that when we get done. I get done on here. Sorry, guys. And anyway, where was that? My lung doctor, he said that when he went in there and he cleaned everything out, though, when they took the nodule, which was not lung cancer again, when they took a clip off it, apparently it deflated my lung and made my lung collapse, my left side. My right side was okay, but my left side. And I'm like, I woke up, I was in so much pain. I was in pain all through here. I'm like, I breathe great, but I'm hurting so bad. I tell you, a collapsed lung is seriously painful. I don't know if you've ever been through one, but I have now. Guilty, but and I just kind of go back and laugh at it now. But man, it was painful. I had to spend a night at the hospital on full oxygen. So I had an oxygen mask on me. Apparently, full oxygen can help re-inflate the lung. I was so close. And they said I was like, ooh, really inching on in there. Of the next day, Caleb, I asked you to turn it off, baby. No music tones. Or go to my bedroom and play it. So I can't pick it up on the camera, please. Thank you. And anyway, did I have a chest tube put in there to help it? But they said by the next day, the full oxygen was enough to reinflate the lung. So I got lucky on that. And when I got home, I remember I had to sleep on the couch propped up a certain way Breathing was painful, moving was painful, anything was painful. To even get any kind of rest, peace, anything. I remember I just had to have a certain position and being propped up on the end of the couch a certain way and be like, should I breathe? Should I not breathe? Because it's going to be painful. And so, yeah, I spent almost 2 weeks on my couch, not really doing much of nothing. I mean, getting up and going to the bathroom was painful. Getting something to eat was painful. Anything was painful. And again, breathing was painful. I could breathe because it cleaned out my lungs, but it was just painful to breathe. I mean, the pain was so intense. But anyway, so I went through all that, and this is something that'll never go away. I have issues that set me in COPD attacks. So my lung infection gets bad. I start having breathing attacks where I get to where I can't breathe. I can't get a breath in my chest, which is now COPD. But the COPD was caused by a lung infection. And where the lung infection gets so full and so bad, because, we're talking about my lungs getting so infected up in there, you can, I don't want to sound gross, but you can kind of taste infection. You can tell, when, you're getting infection inside of you. And I'm easily prone to pneumonia, bronchitis now, and things like that. I had pneumonia right before my husband passed away, like 2 weeks before he passed away. And that's one thing my lung doctor said we want to try to prevent for me. Because now I'm more prone to it with this lung infection that will never go away. And again, I'm on antibiotics for the rest of my life. A low dose, and it keeps infection down. Because I used to have fever and chills with this lung infection. Now that 3-day-a-week antibiotic at least keeps everything calmed down. I don't have no longer fever and chills, thank goodness. That was awful. And so anyway, he, after all that happened, then now coming into 2024, in December, my husband passed away on Christmas Eve. And, that was hard enough. My son in the room, I won't go into full detail, but I'll just say he had a cardiac arrest. He went immediately. And it being Christmas Eve and Christmas the next day, it was the day after Christmas, we went to the funeral home. 2 days after Christmas, I was having my husband's funeral. And, Caleb was having his daddy's. And it was hard. He had a military funeral. My husband had been in the military. But it was hard to become a single mom. I'm sick with this lung infection, trying to get a house fixed up, because that was my husband's goal, to refix his house, because my husband had the knowledge. And he knew how to do all that work and everything. He just kind of was trying to find the time between working, because he worked a lot. And, his job kept him very busy, and he was tired after work, because he had to drive a lot with his job and travel every single day between Kentucky, anywhere around Kentucky, or anywhere around Tennessee. So he might have been, let's just say like this. We live in Kentucky. It's, where the Smoky Mountains is probably. We're like a 4-hour drive, and it wouldn't surprise me if he was very close to there in one day and coming back the same day. So, he was traveling every single day with his job, 5 days a week. So, a lot of times he didn't get time to help out in the home, but that was our goal, trying to come up with the money to fix, buy material, and material, nothing's cheap no more. Groceries, material, anything. Everything is nothing but just, here, $50 now, when you go to the grocery store. You know how much it is? Just going a trip to McDonald's is a fortune. But anyway, after he passed away, then that was put on me. Becoming a single mom was put on me. I'm sitting there sick. I go back to my lung doctor, and that's when he put me on the 3-day-a-week antibiotic. He said, honey, everything you've been through, this child has one parent left. He said, we're going to keep you alive. And he said, you listen to me very closely. do everything I say. He said, you can live to be as old as anybody else. He said, that's God's plan. He said, the antibiotic and steroids can keep you alive. But he said, I can't get rid of the, infection. But he said, we can keep it under control. And that's great. So, anyway, we're doing that. And now to come find out, I went to the doctor yesterday. Fast forward, of course, I'm trying to become a single parent. I'm trying to fix my home. And, I put a new bathtub in. I had to pay people to do this. Yesterday, I got somebody to day before yesterday, I got somebody to mow my yard finally, because we've had a lot of rain issues. It's like rain, and there ain't storm showers, bad storms around here. And there hadn't been really days left, because it'd be so wet the next day, you couldn't mow. And so finally it was enough my yard had done growed up. It was awful. So anyway, somebody I knew came and they mowed. They used my lawnmower. I bought them the gas, but they mowed for me. And so that he really helped me out doing that. And somebody's supposed to come this afternoon and do my weed eating, as far as I know of, this afternoon. So I'm thankful I get all that done, so get the yard kind of back in better shape, since it ain't raining now, storming. We have had some really hard storming rain. And so Kentucky's been bad. Don't, baby. And so Kentucky has been very bad. Where I live at, it's popping up storm rain. And it's been almost every day. Last few days, just keep crossing our fingers, won't keep on. And then when I went to the doctor, though, yesterday, long story short, of course, I'm getting things done around here this afternoon, and which I want to make a video out of it. Tomorrow afternoon, or this afternoon, I'm planning on starting finally to get to paint my son's room. I'm just where I'd been sick last week with my lung infection, a little harder to breathe and things like that. I got behind and wasn't able to do that. I just wasn't able. But I'm going to do some video on that and how I'm making his room. And so if that's something you're interested in, stay tuned for those videos. I'll probably do like a little fast forwarding on the painting, because it's going to be hard to paint and talk. And I might add a little music to it or something. Tell me if you like that idea. Leave it in the comments. I might do some little bit over talking, because my mind will be focusing on the wall. And it's just, for me, I enjoy painting, but my mind's got to be focused on the painting. So you might see a little voiceover in those videos, and you can see the transformation. We're coming from my son a little boy room, which he had a Jeep bed, plastic, a taller Jeep bed. But now we're going to a more of a teenage look for his age. He's 8, and he's got a twin bed, brand new mattress, brand new. So we're bringing more of the toys out, and from a little boy room to more of a teenage look. More of a gamer's maybe room, where he can have his computer. If you know my son yet, he loves electronics. So I got him.
I play Roblox.
He said he plays Roblox, if you didn't hear him. And anyway, so he's got a computer desk.
And my Roblox username is CalebSip9.
I guess he wants everybody to subscribe to his Roblox to be friends with him. Anyway, he and he's got a new computer desk, a new computer chair. It's all got to be put together. Of course, it was ordered on Amazon. I've got it in one of my hallways over here that we don't use as much, because I do have a 4-bedroom, so I've got actually 2 hallways. One going that way and then the other going this way. This is the one we don't use as much. So I put the boxes back there till I get that room done and get somebody to help me assemble it, because I don't do good at that stuff. But anyway, then yesterday I went to the doctor, and now she wants me to test me for skin cancer. Again, my nose. I don't want to show the inside of my nose, but that's the area right in here. And it's come up over here, and the scab ain't been as big. This one ain't been, but that's what they're wanting to test. I mean, hey, if you've dealt with any of this, had any issues like this, or or please say a prayer for me. I appreciate all of them. I'm praying about it a lot. And no, baby, don't show your roadblocks. Don't worry about that. And so please, I appreciate y'all praying for me about this. It concerns me, but I'm not going to be severely worried because I want to let God take control. God can work miracles. He knows my situation. And, it concerns me because I've seen pictures online. And, people's nose looks horrifying. And I'll be honest, that worries me. Big hole in the nose. I consider myself an okay looking woman. Maybe, I may not be no beauty queen or nothing like that, but, I don't think I look that bad. And my goodness, I couldn't imagine how I would look with a big hole in my nose or something. It worries me in my mind, but I'm going to let God take control. He's brought me through a heart attack, a major heart attack, because the doctors did say I was very lucky. It was massive. God has brought me through that. And yesterday, the doctor said, your heart sounds great. She said, your lungs even sound good. I'm going to praise the Lord for that. But she said, I do want to get you tested for that. And I'm like, one more thing to add on the list of, and I was perfectly healthy to 2 years ago. And then all of a sudden, you just, whoa, I'm like, is there any more I can go through? I'm sure there is. I don't want to test anything, so I don't want to say those words either. But I've been through that major heart attack. I've been through a major lung infection now. And we'll always be going through a lung infection. And I was so surprised I heard that. And I'll tell you right now, my husband with this lung infection was really worried about me. That's all he thought about was just me getting better. Why do I have to be so sick all the time? Not being mad at me why am I so sick all the time, but just not understanding it like I wouldn't. And a lot of it, for a lot of times we was lost, didn't know what was wrong with me. Then going through these testing and waiting and, waiting game and like, my God, is it cancer? Is it this? Is it that? And then my husband passed away immediately with a cardiac arrest. He looked at me and said, my chest hurts and going, like 3 seconds, that's it. Immediately he said, my chest hurts, and collapsed. And he was gone. It was just a blink of an eye. I didn't have time to even say anything back to him. So I've been through that, becoming a single mom, trying to learn how to live to be a single mom, take care of everything on my own because I don't have a husband to fall back on. Thank goodness I've been able to get friends to charge me cheaper. I've made some, new friends to charge me cheaper, maybe my weed eating. Somebody to help me mowing because that's something with a lung infection I can't do. And then, I have to worry about getting people to help me on doing stuff around the house sometimes, things I can't do or don't have the knowledge to do. Drywall, this, that, I could do painting, so I'm going to paint my son's room today, so that will be another video. But mowing I can't do because of the lung infection. So anyway, somebody came out here and mowed. Somebody's going to come out here and weed eat. That person didn't really care to weed eat because I do have a lot to weed eat around here. I've got some beautiful land. A beautiful view from my front porch. I love it here. I'm right next door where I grew up at. I'd prefer to put a brand new mobile home here than versus buying a brand new house because this has been my home all my life. And, in some videos down the road, I'll talk about little things about maybe as I grew up. I grew up a country girl. We raised a garden. My daddy worked tobacco. I was raised to work. And my daddy was not hard on me. He did not spank me or nothing. Back then, kids help their parents when their parents said, hey, we got to go do this today. You didn't backtalk. You didn't say, hey, I don't want to do it. You knew you had to go help. And we even helped other relatives in tobacco and things like that. And they come and helped us, return the favor of work. So anyway, maybe sometime I'll talk about some of that stuff, in just a video. I just want to ramble about kind of like how it was raised in the country during my childhood in the 1970s and 80s. And I'm 51 years old. And I'll tell you something funny yesterday, too. I thought it was kind of amusing. My doctor looked at me, and when we was talking about the skin cancer, she said this woman was in her 50s talking about another lady that had no skin cancer, and said you couldn't even tell it after they took it off and everything. So she was trying to reassure me. She had seen somebody in after effect skin and nose cancer. And anyway, she, I said, well, I'm in my 50s. I said, I'm 51. She said, what? I guess she hadn't really looked at my chart to realize, my birth date. She actually got on there and looked on my birth date. And I said, okay, I seen you looking. You're looking at my birthday now. She said, honey, I'd have never dreamed you was 51 years old. I said, what did you think it was? She said, really, I thought you was in your early 40s. Just to look at you. She said, when you said 51, I'm like, what? I'm surprised. She's like, I had to look at your birthday and your chart. She said, yeah, you was born in 1974. And I'm like, I'll take that as a compliment. And so anyway, I thought that was kind of funny. That she even had just like looking at my chart. She's like, what? Looking at my chart. And I'm like, she's for real about that. She really did not think I was, 51 years old. So, hey, I'll take that as a great compliment. But I want to stay cheerful about this. Please don't leave any rude comments to me. I mean, this is hard enough to go through. Please leave, that you may be praying for me about it, whatever this outcome's going to be. I've done been, the way I look at it, I've been through so much. Going through a heart attack, lung infection, my husband passed away in front of me, being a single mom, now possibly skin cancer. I thought God's control, and He's kept me here for a reason. Maybe it's to do this YouTube video. Maybe it's to do a further one down the road. He's brought me here on YouTube, and honestly, people's requested more of me just doing these kind of updates about me. Me being real. Me being direct, and, doing, maybe cleaning around my home, doing things, updating my home. And this is what I felt led to talk about today, what happened, yesterday. Of everything I've have been through, and God pushed me through this, each things that I did not think I was going to get through. Each time I had a scenario, I remember being in the hospital, the heart attack, thinking, I don't know if I'll make it. They even the nurse looked at me and she said, I said, am I going to make it? She said, I'm going to be honest. She said, I don't know. And I told her, thank you for being honest to me. I want honesty. But I was worried I wouldn't make it. God brought me through it. Lung infection. My infection was so bad, you heard the lung doctor, I didn't have nothing to breathe out of no more. And I'm stuck with this for life. This is possibly caused by black mold to start it. And anyway, I went through that. God brought me through it. My husband passed away, and he was my everything, my childhood sweetheart. He's brought me through that. God's brought me through being a single mom. I've got everything now established. Mentally, He made a way for me He was able to get me and my son both survivor benefits. And I had somebody to ask. My son gets survivor benefits, and your child's caregiver, I think if you'd been married for 10 years or more, you and your spouse, you can get, as the mom, you can get caregivers, survivor's benefit because you got a child till they're the age of 16. And then when he's close to reaching 16, I'll be able to click over pretty quick after that to get my husband's Social Security at the age of 60. So for anybody that's asked about that, that's how I get it. So God has blessed us with a way to provide money for us, with me with this lung infection, and, you know, raising a child that I can still remain home with him. And that's, you know, that part's great, that I can stay home with my son even after a bad situation, you know, that hit with us and my husband and stuff. And so, you know, God brought me through that. God has brought me away to be Caleb's mom, to be a single mom, to learn how to control everything around us, money-wise, financially-wise, just paying bills each month. You know, that's the first thing I do every day. When our money hits in the bank, that's the first thing I do is start paying bills. And that's the only thing I'll do, of course, besides buying food or something. Get those bills paid first, then I see what's left. Then that's what, you know, I've got school clothes to buy. Caleb's school shoes, you know, y'all know how cheap that is. And that'll be another video too about what I bought Caleb for school. And after everything comes in and get bought, his backpacks and all that, Caleb starts in 3rd grade, where we go, I think it's next week, to meet the teachers and all that. So anyway, yeah, that'll be a video of its own. We're going to show his school clothes. Maybe even Caleb doing a, would you like to try on school clothes, son? And maybe do videos of you coming out with your, the clothes on? That'd be a neat video. And so, yeah, look for that one in the near future when we get everything in the mail. His grandma's getting some things, Caleb's grandma. So, anyway, she is getting a few things, and she's going to order it on Amazon. So, I have to wait till everything arrives. I'll probably go shoe shopping this weekend for Caleb, because I want to get those in person and measure his feet and all that. And, you know, little boy's always growing. And so, anyway, yeah, if you don't mind leaving the comments, so, you know, say a prayer for me, even if you don't leave in the comments, you know, about the situation with my nose. I'll keep everybody updated in the future once I hear about more. I'm not going to be worried. I'm not going to stress myself out. I do have some vitamin E oil I bought to put on it. See if that, you never know. Doctor gave me an antibiotic. I'm going to put on it, to rub on it. So, hey, we're going to do that. Worry about things when they get here. God's got it under control. So, yes. Or just say, hi, tell me what state you're from. I always go with that too. But yeah, if you believe in the power of prayer, whatever you believe in, if it's just good thoughts, please think about me on this. Because, again, I'm not going to be worried, but, you know, in my heart, in a way, I will be worried. So you can't prevent it. But God's overcame me with all this other stuff. I'm here for a reason. I know I am. And God's provided me through all this stuff. You know, Jesus has provided me through all this stuff. And I've been through all of this. I mean, there's some people who actually throw some mental hints at me of like a mental abuse toward me that ain't so nice. And I'm like, really? You know, I don't know. I might get in that later. I don't want to discuss that right now. But, you know, I've got some things going on in life. People in person actually kind of running me down. Like, you better do this, you better do that. I'm like, really? I mean, I don't want to get that. Maybe sometime in the future. But, you know, I've got things I got to deal with around here too. And that's some things that I feel that's not so nice. And because in my heart, I feel like everybody should be nice. I mean, you know, we only have one life. I always heard it takes less muscles in your face to smile than it does to frown. It takes more muscles to frown than it does to smile. You know, why not look at somebody and open the door for them if you're going in the store, or just say, hey, have a great day. You know, nice to see you. I mean, I'm country. That's how I was raised. I was raised to be friendly. And that's the reason maybe sometime in the future I'll talk more about my childhood. But anyway, I'm getting this video long, but think about me on that. You know, pray for me, think about me. Keep me in your good thoughts, whatever, about this situation on my nose. Again, I know I'm here for a reason. So much I've been through, and I've overcome. I've even overcome a fear of driving. I drove for a while there. You know, several years ago, I wouldn't even drive. I had a little small fender bender. It wasn't nothing. And I will tell you this before I close. I got in the air conditioner in the car, and I was really hot. And you know how when you get real hot and you get under the air conditioner, in your eyes, all that sweat comes down. And I went blind driving. I just was a few feet away from where I was at. And I think I hit a pothole. But it made me nervous because I couldn't see. I'm like, have I hit something? And didn't know it. What? You know, I don't know. I think it was a pothole. Me and my dad had long talks about it. And I went through, I did not want to drive. It just scared me. I went through like a little depression stage on driving because of that little situation. I mean, it wasn't really even nothing. It wasn't like a bad wreck or anything, just barely anything. But it made me nervous where I couldn't see, where that sweat came in my eyes and just purely blinded me. And so I have overcome over that. Even after my husband passed away, me and my son went to Florida. I drove through Atlanta. First time. I don't like it, but anyway, I can do it. Me and my son's been to the Smokies a couple of times. I've drove through Chattanooga. I mean, and I've been able to accomplish that, I think, with God helping me. Where several years ago, I didn't even want to drive. So, I mean, I used to love driving prior to that, and then that happened when I sweat my eyes, and it just, I don't know, something about it just kind of spooked me inside, depressed me inside to not want to do it. And maybe that was the devil coming in on me. I don't know. But then now I've accomplished to meet those goals because after I lost my husband, I knew I had to. And again, you know, we went to Florida. We went to, you know, the mountains. And, you know, I've drove down long ways that I've used to not even drive at all. So anyway, yeah, it's just things I've overcome. So anyway, if you've watched this video here to the end, God bless you, Ed, for hearing me kind of ramble. And I appreciate any good vibes, prayers, or anything. Watch out for my tomorrow's video. If you've liked this video, please, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel. Help my channel grow. Watch my videos. I do mobile home tours. If you like to look at mobile homes, I do go to mobile home parks. I like looking at mobile homes. Maybe I'll get to buy one day, a new one. But that helps my channel grow. And maybe growing that channel will give me enough views, I can buy one of those mobile homes. And it benefit. Every time you watch a video of mine, it benefits me and my little boy. And that's for a single mom, because that's going to help me get more revenue coming in. And it just helps me grow. It helps you to get me out there. So anyway, that's what you, one person that's watching this right now, you subscribing to my channel. That's what it does. It helps the channel grow. It helps YouTube boost it up, get it out there. And from AdSense, that helps me get paid those watching my videos. So I appreciate each and every one of you liking my video. It also gets YouTube to promote it. So when you're a new subscriber even, and you click like, that shows YouTube, hey, they enjoyed this video. So we're going to put her towards the top and get her out there. And that gets more people watching my videos. And when you leave a comment, you know, it's the same thing. I try to comment to everybody back. Because when you took the time to say something to me, I want to take the time to say something back to you. Because I feel like we're friends now. So anyway, thank you for watching. Again, please subscribe, like my video, say hi in the comment, turn the notification on so you can see my further videos,
Are you
updates.
done making the video?
Almost. So anyway, everybody have a great day. Hey, come here, Caleb. Say goodbye to everybody. I'm finishing up.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Have a great day, and look out for tomorrow's video.